This is why you die.
Hello all and welcome to This Is Why You Died, the horror show that is your one-stop shop for horror movie reviews, discussions, news, and previews, as well as the latest cannibal recipes, chainsaw sharpening tips, nature survival advice, body disposal techniques, serial killer trivia, and really awful vampire puns. I am Sir Ian Dangerous, a.k.a. your Uncle Frank, and joining me as always is the man who is at your neck and call, Dan March of Madness, and the best fang for your buck, Ryan Ross, live. Hello, gentlemen.
That That's a good
open. You were
open.
sitting on those puns. Those were good ones.
Come on. Oh, I got so many more. Like, why do vampires never bite clowns? They taste funny. We are the show that discusses horror films that we choose based on prompts that we draw at random from the 666 words and phrases in our buckets of the beast. Now that we're off to a good start, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, boys. How are you doing tonight, boys? How are we feeling this evening?
Dan's losing a lung over
Dying
there. Your joke
over
was
here,
so bad.
Sorry, that was a tough intro. But yes, we are here to talk about horror movies. We have a good one today. It's my choice today. I picked the prompt, and we will reveal what that is in a little bit. We told you last week if you listened to last week's show, but if you don't know, hang out. We're going to tell you shortly. It's a classic, an absolute stone cold, unadulterated. Everyone agrees. This is a classic movie we're covering today. I can't wait to talk about it. Been waiting forever to talk about it with these boys and show it to Ryan, who started off this show, beginning of this series, having barely ever seen a horror movie, and here he is now. He's a at this point, what are you, you're a fully salted, well-oiled horror machine now, Ryan.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I've definitely seen exponentially more than I started with. I would definitely say I'm more experienced than I was before. I'd probably say I'm above average at this point.
At this point, I think so. You've seen 7 times as many horror movies now as you saw when you started the show.
It
so I
might
think
be even more than that.
Impressive.
It's very impressive. But all right, boys, let's get this show started. We got to do a little some stuff before we get into the meat of the show. Let's start off with some horror news. All right, so the horror news we have this week, it's sequel madness time, boys. We're going to talk about some upcoming sequels that were announced very recently. The first one is a sequel to a movie we've covered on this very show, Pontypool. The one no one saw coming.
What?
Didn't see this one coming.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. Because there's one I know that's coming out that I thought you were going to say.
All right, well, tell me which one you thought in a second here, because I got to talk about Pontypool. We did it on this show, little Canadian horror film. A lot of people haven't seen it, but the original director, Bruce McDonald, is coming back, and he says that he is writing the sequel with the original writer, Tony Burgess. Unfortunately, Stephen McHattie will not return because of things that happened in the first movie, which we will not spoil. But the new one's going to be set in a rehab center where they are trying to rehabilitate the victims of the virus to be able to speak properly again and act normal, according to Bruce McDonald. And they're trying to reverse, this is what he said, kind of reverse the day of the viral outbreak in the town. They're doing the work in a public school, and the transmission, the radio broadcast itself, is being kept under lock and key because the transmission is, of course, the virus. So they are now in talks with a few companies to see who's gonna buy the script, who's gonna buy the movie, but they are working on Pontypool 2,
Wild.
which of all the movies to get a sequel, that was not one I had in my book.
Yeah.
Where are they gonna go?
At this point, I feel like it's one of those things that they're just looking for, hey, was this something successful that has any sort of loose ends that we can continue on?
I mean, it kind of became kind of a cult film. It found its audience later on, so maybe there's something there. I don't know. Dan, did you want to see a sequel to Pontypool?
I feel like there's something interesting that they're working on. It's cool that there's like this idea that there's that the transmission is the virus and now it's kept locked away. And anything that in a horror movie that's kept locked away is probably unleashed in some sort of way. So I'm curious what the metaphor they're going to do with it now, these years later, with the idea of social media being such a thing now. I feel like there's a lot more that can now be, you can take the idea and elevate it or evolve it into the idea of what social media is doing to our minds. So that could be a cool direction to go with it. Yeah, that's where I take it.
That's a really good point, especially like if you think about if a linguistic virus gets unleashed on TikTok.
Oh God, yeah. How fast it would spread?
Yeah. Well, it's like the prognosis for the thing in the thing. It's like 6 days, we're all dead.
Yeah. And it ties into what you were saying when we talked about the first time of like the progression of the idea of a meme since that movie was invented, and the propagation of that term and that like what it means as an idea and as an entity. I think that's definitely something that would be poignant to tie into in the modern era that was not as poignant before. So we'll have to just see what they come up with.
We'll see what they come up with, but that is still in development. But one movie that's actually due to start filming in October is a sequel to another movie that bombed when it came out, but found a cult following later. That's Jennifer's Body. Jennifer's Body is coming back. It begins filming this October. Karen Kusama, who also directed The Invitation, is coming back to direct again. Megan Fox is officially back as Jennifer the Succubus. No official word yet on if Amanda Seyfried is coming back, but I feel like they kind of need her. She has expressed interest, but we don't know if she's locked in yet or not. But most importantly, Academy Award winner Diablo Cody is coming back to write the sequel to her movie as well. So that, I think, is probably the most important part. But what's interesting this time also, it's not going to be released by 20th Century Fox anymore because 20th Century Fox got bought by Disney, which begs the question, is Jennifer the Succubus now a Disney princess?
Oh, God.
I don't know. I might go to Disneyland if she's in the float parade. I'm just saying. Megan Fox out there with her big open mouth with the jaws.
Alive?
And the blood all over.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get more. Hey, I think at this point, let's see. The Alien Queen is a Disney princess.
True.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
good point.
Why not Jennifer?
Yeah.
Let's open it up. Why hold people back?
I like it.
But yeah, Jennifer's Body coming back. So if anyone's a fan of Jennifer's Body, you got more Jennifer's Body coming. But what we got more of is Dan March of Madness talking. Something that we do every episode is force our very own Dan March of Madness to talk for a minute straight. And Ryan Ross Live is going to bust out the stopwatch to make sure that he does exactly
that. I was
that.
on the draw this time. I was thinking of They Follow. I was thinking about that was the sequel that I thought that you were going to go for.
That They Follow also on the way too. A lot of sequels coming. Right now, and that's probably a whole lot of internet meme horror coming as well. But it's not my time to talk right now anymore. It's time for Dan March Madness to talk for a minute straight. Air your grievances. Talk about something you're passionate about. Dan, get ready. Get set. Ryan, hit that trigger. Go, Dan, go.
I want to bring back the specialty and the art of a good trailer. I remember when we were younger, they would put out special trailers that were shot just to tease the film. Or there is a definitive art form that putting together a trailer that really kind of doesn't give a lot away to the movie. I feel like trailers have become something that is now like, how many hits can we get within the hour of releasing the trailer? You know, how much can we hint at, give away? It's now become like, let's remove stuff from a scene just to trick people. And it's like, now we're going into this thing of like tricking people and letting people down. Whereas I think there was an art form to the trailer itself. The trailer could be just as powerful as the movie. And I think we need to start embracing that art form again to get people excited. The cinema is coming back in a big way. So let's bring back the trailer as an art form too, because we need that definitely as we rise into this new era of the cinema and going to the movies.
Hey! Oh, that was a smooth one. Dan brought it right in at the end there. Well said. And well said about the trailers too, man. I mean, what's a horror trailer we talked about in the last episode? Burning up the town right now. Other Mommy. I think that's your case in point right there, where the trailer does a whole lot of work for the movie.
Like, it's shocking you in good ways. You don't really know what the story's necessarily about.
Right.
And then, like you said, they trick you in that opening first, like 10, 15 seconds where you think it's this happy moment, and it just builds and builds. You're like, and you start to get really uneasy.
Yeah.
And so it's a good tease into what this movie's going to make you feel, as opposed to like, how many hits can we get? How fast can we spread this trailer around?
I'll go one further, man. What happened to Trailer Voice Man?
Yeah.
This summer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What happened to him?
You know who killed that? I think Christopher Nolan killed that guy's voice.
Oh,
I think
why? Because of the Inception trailer?
I think the Inception trailer, and the fact that he put out a trailer that used sound and pieces of like to tease it, got people so much more excited that when you start hearing somebody telling you things, you're like, whoa, this feels weird now. Because if you go watch those old trailers and you hear like, in a world
it
where
feels
this
very
man
90s.
it feels so weird. It's so strange now. It's like, oh no, just give me pieces of the trailer with some sound design that like shocks me. But I think that Inception trailer was the beginning of the end of like that guy's voice.
Joe is a regular high schooler.
Yeah.
Until he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing, is look at us making fun of it. Like the voice guy, it got a little cheesy at a certain point. Everyone's like, oh God, here we go again.
Yeah.
In a world where poop comes back out of the toilet, this man is going to plunge everyone.
There's only one man that stands between the world and total annihilation.
I mean, I'm hyped, but that might just be because I'm older and I hear that shit. I'm immediately I'm fired up. I found an old like Italian Samson movie this last week because of a trailer where they're just like, he is the strongest man in the world except for his son. And I was like, oh, I'm in. Yeah, fuck yeah. I want to watch this stupid old Italian Son of Samson movie.
But the best were when they would start serious and then it turned into a comedy. So it'd be like, in a world where this happened, but then no one knew it was gonna be Adam Sandler. It's like, and then he gets like happy, like his voice changes. But yeah,
they started subverting it by the 90s and 2000s. Exactly. Yeah.
Let's bring back that trailer.
They're here to crash the wedding. Yeah, it died somewhere around that time. It's for sure.
I remember the questioning. It would be like, and now they're here to dance.
That's when they started subverting the poor voiceover guy. So. Oh no! Well, I think we're gonna have to find a new era of trailers ahead, but we also got to find the show here, because here we are sitting down ready for horror movies. And this week I had the prompt thriller, and I was stuck because everything's a damn thriller. And I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do that's going to fit this prompt? And I said, well, what's the first thing that pops in my mind? Thriller by Michael Jackson, right? Who directed that? John Landis. What else did he direct? American Werewolf in goddamn London. One of the greatest werewolf movies ever made. I can't wait to bring this to you guys and talk about this on the show. And I'm so passionate about this movie. I'm so excited for this. So we did American Werewolf in London for this week. That's what we're going to talk about right now, boys. But first things first, Ryan, as always, know you haven't seen this movie. We're going to talk about what you know about it in a little bit. But Dan, last week you said you'd only seen this movie once. How long ago was that you saw this movie for the first time?
I would guess a decade or more. It's been a while. And of course, it's one of the movies that I saw scenes from the movie countless times before I actually sat and watched the full movie from beginning to end, because it was always featured every Halloween on the AMC horror, like top scariest moments of horror. It was always the transformation scene from this movie is always featured as something that must be seen. So, and then of course, I grew up on watching Thriller. And of course, when you watch the documentary on how they made it, they show this clips from this movie and of course reference this movie quite a bit. So that was kind of the history of it before actually just kind of watching it one full time, I can safely say.
And so what did you remember about about this movie sticking with you besides the scene?
I remember I remember it being pretty scary at times, but I didn't remember it being so much of a comedy as it
really
was. There's a lot of humor that I completely forgot was in this. And just one way that I completely interpreted a character was completely different seeing it this time too.
Ooh,
Yeah, somebody that earns my fuck this guy award. Yeah, so
I can't wait to I can't wait to dive into that with you. That's going to be fun. Yeah, it's funny that this movie is often, I don't think it's overlooked for its humor, but people forget how funny it is. This is John Landis who directed this. I mean, he came off of Blues Brothers and Animal House and Kentucky Fried Movie, 3 comedies, like broad comedies in a row. And then came into this and went back to Universal and basically was like, hey, remember your old werewolf movies? Let's do that again. But he had his own little touch to it, and he wrote and directed this. So, there's John Landis movies feel a certain way. Like when you watch a John Landis movie, there's just you're watching a John Landis movie. This movie feels like a John Landis movie. It's just got his touch all over it. If you've seen a few of his movies, you cannot help but feel his touch on this movie. And that was always something that I remembered, was that it was funny. It was like, but the humor didn't quite juxtapose well with it. So I'm looking forward to talking with you boys on the show today about like how we feel the humor works in this movie. Like, does it still work in this movie after all of these years? Is the humor still the kind of humor that plays to the crowds, if you will? But if you've never seen American Werewolf in London, now's the time to go check it out. Please, it's great. And then come back and we're going to talk all about it on the show today. It's an awesome movie about an American who gets attacked by a werewolf in Britain and then has adventures before becoming a werewolf. That's all you need to know about this movie, because more than that, it's going to be spoilers, which is why right now we're going to give the spoiler warning.
Spoiler alert. All spoilers, including character deaths and plot twists, are now authorized. You have been warned.
Bam, bam,
Watch
bam.
out.
American Werewolf in London. Let's go. We're spoiling all of this movie. And the first thing we're going to spoil is what Ryan came into this movie knowing. Did you ever heard anything about this movie, the transformation scene, anything? Like, what did you know about American Werewolf in London?
I had heard the name. I've heard the song of similar name. I thought that they were related. They are.
Okay. Hold on. I'll push in on this real quick. The Werewolf of London was actually an old werewolf movie, one of the first werewolf movies.
Okay.
And this movie is kind of a take, like a satirical take on the concept of a London werewolf. Like the original one was kind of like a Jack the Ripper kind of thing.
Okay.
Where he's a werewolf. But then this one was a little kind of like a winking twist on that idea of a werewolf in London. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so yeah, I knew those two things. And that was about it, other than the things that the title directly gives away, which is that an American is probably going to turn into a werewolf and end up in London somehow.
And he does.
Which he does. And it's accurate.
Okay. Did you find it funny?
I don't know if I found it funny per se. I never laughed out loud at it particularly. I do think that it is cheery. I think it's something that like it has like a brightness. It has like a brightness to it and a lot of the in-between moments that I think like, although I feel like it's a lot of it's kind of the dry British humor of like, there wasn't anything laugh out loud, but like it does kind of have like a tongue-in-cheek moments, and there's definitely like a sort of joviality to the in-between of like when he's just living his life. Feels very like, like kind of celebratory in a strange way. But no, I didn't really find it particularly like funny at any given moment. I guess really the one thing that I did kind of laugh at is how poorly the women are written in this movie. The one woman's like the writing for her is just horrendous. It's
for the main Jenny Agutter, the main character.
It's so obvious, like the man, like a man written for a woman of like he's like. She's like showing him around his house and he's like, oh, lovely. Oh, great. Or whatever. And then he like shows them the bedroom and he's like, I know there's only one bed. And she's like, here, let me describe my entire sexual history for you. And because of the prompting of that, there's only one bed. Or like, the later where it's like the doctor's like all concerned about him. Is like, hey, is he back or whatever? Like I've been totally concerned. Like you're supposed to let me know. And she's like, yeah, he's back. He's very enthusiastic. You're like, oh my God. Like this is like so ham-handedly written.
It's so funny because I actually really appreciated that, where I felt like the combination of like the writing, I don't think gave a lot there, but I think that Jenny Agutter's performance gave a lot of nuance to her character in those scenes where she was like playfully annoyed by him, but then also the way that she was attracted to him felt very kind of like girlish and like, I'm not sure why I'm so attracted to you, but I am. And the way that she was kind of like taken aback at herself felt like it was very present there as well.
I do think it was well acted. I just think that the script didn't do her any favors, unfortunately.
Okay, fair enough.
It felt very much like a man had written a woman for the movie, and you're like, oh, that's this whole role, and she does a good job with what she can with it, but there's not a whole lot to work with.
Yeah, I suppose that is true. John Landis not known for his female characters, I suppose, if I think about it. But wait a minute. Dan, do you find that when you watched this time, you said you found it funnier than you did in the past? You didn't realize there was humor? Did you find it funny this time?
I think either the humor went over my head or I just wasn't expecting it the first time when I saw it. But seeing it again, there's just solid moments of John Landis's feeling and his comedy that I think works. It works well. He has this, I don't know the best way I can describe it is like, you know, when Jim from The Office looks at the camera, like it's like looking at the camera but not looking at it. Like it's like it takes a moment where like this is a joke and this is ridiculous. Yeah. You get it? Like wink, wink. And so that's what I feel like he is kind of his style and his approach, which in a Blues Brothers movie works well, but for this felt very uneven, honestly. Like I felt like I liked the humor, but it didn't balance well for me with this horror where it was like, and is he really trying to go horror? And then like how you're calling it satirical take. So then I'm thinking, well, is this more of a satire? So the unbalance and the breaking to take the joke didn't feel like it was woven into it very well. So it felt uneven for me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you feel like the tone was kind of all over the place for you watching it this time.
Yeah.
Where like he would shift into humor and you didn't feel it was appropriate because of the heaviness of the other parts of the movie?
Definitely. Yes.
Well,
interesting.
To Dan's credit, the one joke that I think that I can remember that stood out to me was they're standing over an unconscious boy who's been mauled and they're like, I think he's Jewish. Have you taken a look? And you're like,
he was like, how do you know? Oh, I took a look while he was out. But the thing that pays off that is that the doctor's just standing right there.
I agree.
Right? But Dr. Hirsch, one of my favorite characters in this movie. Dr. Hirsch is standing right there, listening to her be like, oh yeah, I took a look at him while he was out. And then he says,
but it's very contemporary now.
You do have some function you perform in this hospital, don't you? Yeah. Why don't you go do it? Like, and that's, to me, that the humor in this movie, I feel it works because it's underplayed and for the most part, it's underplayed, but it's mostly character stuff, right? You have characters that are very funny in a moment, right? You have the bumbling second detective who just is always fucking up. Like the main detective is very like just dead serious. And this bumbling second guy who's he's trying his best. He's trying his best.
Well, that whole thing feels very British to me, of like the whole, like, it's very kind of reserved, dry humor of like, we're going to let the humor sit because the humor is in and of itself hilarious.
Right. And that's actually one thing that I think he's absolutely lampooning is Britishness.
Yes.
Like there's the scene in Trafalgar Square where he's trying to get arrested, right? He's realized I'm a werewolf. I'm going to kill people tonight. Fucking arrest me. And he's yelling at this cop and attracting a crowd. And he's saying everything he can think of to be offensive. And he's not getting arrested. He's like, Prince Charles is a murderer. Like he's saying the most horrible things about the British. He's cursing at the guy. And the guy's like, you're being silly. I'm leaving now. And that was his reaction. He's like,
quit
what's wrong
ruckus.
with you people? This is rough.
I've had enough of this.
Everyone clear away. Nothing to see here.
What I did notice about this first time is this second time is that it does take that really cool feeling of that like British folk story of the werewolf in the village that you have to stay inside at night because the werewolf will come out during this time. The rules of like stay off the moors and the road and all that. I love that. And then the fact that like they're throwing these young American kids who just like call it out and be so how Americans are. And there's I related to this because after I graduated from college, me and my buddy went and backpack through Europe, and so it's like it kind of has that nostalgic feeling. But it's like, as an American, you kind of question things, and you're not really thinking if you're like stepping over the line, or if it's like you just feel like you deserve to know everything when you're traveling. You're like, I should know what that star is. I should know what this is. Like, you just feel
when you're
kind
like
of
19,
like, when you're young, and you're like you feel like you just like own the world. You're like I should be able to know everything. Where he's like, you can't read the room, and that's what's wrong with his friend, is like he can't really read the fact that they're like kind of like standoffish, and he crosses a line with them, so
right. And I love the image of Chad Dan wandering through Europe with his puffer jacket, but luckily you stayed on the roads, right, Dan? There's nothing you want to tell us?
No,
curse?
No curse.
Okay. No undead people talking to you?
I mean, to be fair, he's had that people. Book behind him this whole podcast. We never know.
That's very true.
This book
might explain a lot.
No, but I have this up here because this is John Landis's book, Monsters.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, this is a special book that just talks about all the monsters in horror. So this
beautiful werewolf on the cover of that, which brings me to my next question, boys. Werewolves. All right, we've talked about vampires ad nauseum this season on the show. Let's talk about werewolves. We talked about vampire rules. What are our werewolf rules? What in our minds when you think werewolves? What do you think about? Like, what are the rules for werewolves?
Well, I think the most basic, and I think the most canon, right, is obviously like full moon, you transform into a wolf man.
Right. That's the most
like
basic
a giant
one.
wolf, like whatever.
Sure. That's like vampires and fangs and drinking blood. Like, that's the most basic one.
It's like, I think personally, I tend to like the you go into a state that you don't remember the
fugue,
results.
like a fugue
the
state.
Fugue state. I do like I'm a fan of the fugue state. I'm a fan of the silver bullet rule of like that they can't be harmed except by silver. Personally, that's a take of mine.
So are you the same way with like stakes and vampires?
Absolutely. We've covered this.
Okay.
That's absolutely.
Just making sure.
Yeah. I love this. I like they can only be harmed by silvered things. Generally, I like them to be bigger than the average wolf. They should be a large wolf, in my opinion.
What do you think about the werewolf in American Werewolf, like in terms of size and shape and fury?
I liked it for the most part. I do think that it was a little bit oddly proportioned. It seemed to have a whole lot of Hulk around the shoulders. And I'm like, this is like a weird like hunchback werewolf thing. Like, it's like it felt a little stubby because its back was so big in some scenes. Like they have this whole thing where he stretches out and he seems so long.
Yeah.
And then all the scenes where you actually see him as a wolf, he kind of feels a little bit more stubby and stumpy. And I was like, I wish he was a little bit more lanky like he seemed to be.
I'm gonna jump in. I think one of the reasons they made him so long is because a lot of those scenes were like he's running around Piccadilly Circus at the end.
Yeah.
It's basically just, it's a big prop on a wheelbarrow that they're wheeling around, so they can't show the entire thing. This is before we had that technology to give you a full body werewolf running around. So, they had to have him long so that the back end goes off the screen and then the front end looks really big and impressive. But all right, so silver bullets, bigger than the average wolf, full moon. What else?
Fugue
What are your
state.
other rules? Fugue state.
Yeah. I think those are kind of the main ones. I think anything beyond that, a lot of the thing with werewolves, I think, unlike vampires, is a lot of the rules are just wolf rules, right? Of like the stuff they eat, the way they hunt, the pack tactics. Like it's tougher because you don't have as much stuff that seems supernatural. Really, the supernatural elements are the transformation, the silver, the fact that like they're in this hunger-driven fugue state that then they usually don't remember or don't realize what they've done after the fact. Those
what
are
about
kind of
when they're not the werewolf. What do you want to see from like in this one where he's normal except for some nightmares, or do you want to see them like experiencing heightened sentences?
That's fair.
That kind of thing.
Honestly, I think the only one for me that kind of sticks out that I prefer is I like them to have heightened physicality after they become a werewolf. Of like, if they're a little bit more agile or a little bit buffer than the average person. Like, I like that they kind of hinted the whole, like, after he had feasted, he was like in a great mood and a little bit more like wily. I did like that. But like, honestly, I'm not big on the whole, like, they need to be like a step down from Spider-Man of like they need to have like the super senses because they're also a werewolf. But if it's one of those like semi, like they were medium fit and then they become a werewolf and suddenly they're a little bit jacked, I'm all about that. Like, that's fine. That seems in line for me. But that's my take.
So your team Taylor Lautner on that one. Dan, what about you?
That's a stretch, but
I know your team, Edward. It's okay. Dan, what about you, man? What are your rules for werewolves? What do you like to see in a werewolf?
I think I like seeing everything that's here because I feel like it's all here. I do like the fact of having the werewolf transformation be extremely painful. Like, I think that makes it super cool, like super like painful to watch, and then you also kind of feel for that person. You know, it's like in going back to when we're talking about vampires, but when you go to Twilight, when they like just like shrug their shoulders, all of a sudden they're like vampires. It's just like they're werewolves. They like just transfer, you know, like with the snap. It doesn't give the same feeling of like your body, it like everything, your bones, everything is changing. That's so painful. Like that's really cool when they do that. And this one does it. Like, it just does it so well. That scene is just like super cool. So having I think was really
we'll come back to that scene. We would definitely want to talk about that scene. What are the rules you got?
That's it. You know, the question I have though is that it's because I guess I'm not up on the werewolf rules as much as maybe the vampires, but if you survive a vampire or a werewolf attack, then it transfers to you the same way like the vampire would.
Concept, yeah.
Okay, that's the same concept. Okay, so that's kind of what I got, but
the curse.
But sometimes some werewolf movies or stories may have made it more of like a generational thing too, right? Like it transfers down through family as opposed to through blood or something.
I mean, there's also like the wolfsbane can make you a werewolf. You drink water from the paw prints of a wolf and you turn into a werewolf. There's all kinds of ways to become a lycanthrope. And I'm very excited for the end of this year where we're going to get Robert Eggers' werewolf, and we're going to get a much more like traditional European version of it, when it's going to be deeply fucked up. And that's all I'll say, because I can't say more. But let's talk about that scene. You just talked about transformations into werewolves. And up until this movie came out, and actually it's funny because this movie came out in 1981. And in 1981, we had the holy trifecta of werewolf movies. You had The Howling in the beginning of the year. You had Wolfen in, I think, July. And then this came out later in the year, I want to say in August. And so 3 great werewolf movies in 1 year, and 2 of them in direct competition, actually. Rob Bottin was the lead makeup guy on The Howling, which is the other kind of like major werewolf transformation scene of the era and of all time. And then this came out, and Rick Baker was actually who did this one, and he also did like Michael Jackson and Thriller, and Rick Baker is a monument to special effects. He was actually an assistant to Dick Smith on The Exorcist.
Wow.
And then he went on to do Videodrome. He did he won an Academy Award for Harry and the Hendersons.
Wow.
He did the TV Beauty and the Beast with Ron Perlman, which is why he was brought back to do Ron Perlman in Hellboy. He did Wolf with Jack Nicholson. He did Men in Black series. He did the Nutty Professor series. He did a lot of Eddie Murphy movies like Life and Coming to America. He did Tim Burton's Ed Wood in Planet of the Apes. He won an Academy Award for Ed Wood.
Wow.
He did The Ring. He did the new Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, which has an amazing, more like updated transformation scene. But he was an advisor on The Howling, so he knew what Rob Bottin was doing over there. And he's like, okay, we got to beat him because his shit is incredible. What can we do to top that? And he's like, we got to do it in full light, no hiding. And he goes, no dissolves. Because literally up until this point, like the year before, you had like Paul Naschy doing just the same technique they've been using for 50 years, which is dissolve, put on more makeup, dissolve, put on more makeup, right? More hair in every scene, cut away, cut back. There was no looking right at the body transforming until this scene came along, and you have bladder effects where you've got the shoulder blades pulsing out of the back. You have pieces of armature pushing up through latex so you can see the spine increasing. You have and pushing the face out where the face breaks out and from the human form into a wolf form. You've got hands stretching. You have nails bursting through fingernails. All of these, you have the reverse shot where the hair looks like it's coming out, and instead it's actually, they're pulling it back in and reversing it so the hair looks like it's growing out of the skin. And all done in full brightness in a fully lit room. Never been done like this. Absolutely monumental scene, and it won him the very first Academy Award for special makeup effects.
Wow.
Ooh.
So, how does it hold up? And Dan, I'm going to go to you first because you've seen it before. Watching it a second time, what did you think of it? And then Ryan, I'm going to go to you seeing it the first time, having never seen it before. What did you think, Dan? Does it still hold up?
It holds up so well because of I feel like because the practical effects still look great in it. But what I noticed this other time was the way that they build up to it too, is that they show you two scenes that are very similar to how this one shows, where he's just kind of walking around the apartment. There's like a very popular poppy sort of song going on that like
Creedence.
Revival. And so you're hearing something familiar. Nothing's really happening, and they give you two scenes that happen like that. So that when the third scene happens, and it just hits, and it like you aren't prepared for it. He just stands up and starts stripping, and he's like, "I'm burning up," and it's just like it's so uneasy. And the fact they don't change the music, they keep that music the same. That it's bright in this kind of like very girly, like cute little apartment. That this horrific thing is happening to this man, and it's just like it's so unnerving, and it's very disarming too. Like you're just not ready for it, and that's why I think it works so well. And like that, you're not cutting away. You're seeing these things happen and like change, and you're hearing the breaking and stuff. It's really cool. So it works really
and just
well.
him screaming and bones breaking and this like kind of like sweet version of Blue Moon. Elmer Bernstein, who wrote the music for this movie, the score for this movie, and one of like the legendary Hollywood composers like Magnificent Seven, like the guy is a legend. He wrote an entire score for this scene, and Landis was like, it doesn't work. And so he put the little Blue Moon over it instead in the background, and it works. The juxtaposition we talked about when we did Dawn of the Dead, the remake. Brian, you brought up the elevator scene and the juxtaposition of kind of like the cool little pop song to all of the violence. Here it is again. John Landis, we were talking about how
the
he
elevator
created
trope.
The elevator trope with Blues Brothers, right? And here he's doing it again, where you're juxtaposing this horror with this kind of sweet little pop song as this guy is screaming and his body is coming apart and turning into this monster. Well, Ryan, what did you think about the scene, man?
Can we talk about the fact that every song in this movie is moon themed?
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's amazing.
Every single song.
It's awesome. 3 versions of Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Oh
3
my God. But honestly,
fantastic.
I think this scene was impressive to me, especially for its time. I think that it's one of those things where like parts of it really stood out, like, wow, this is really impressive. But then on the other hand, there were parts of it that then it felt like side by side, it was like, oh, they pulled off this really impressive thing, but then it feels like they cheated out on this other part.
Like what? Like give me
so
specifics.
Like, for example, the hand growing, like his hand elongating, and like you said, like the back, the back muscles expanding. That was super impressive. Really cool to watch. But then on the flip side, at one point they like cut away and they like trail along his back or whatever, and they just are like, and now he's hairy. And I was like, oh, well, like, it's tough because you're seeing some of this happen in real time and these really compelling physical effects. And then some of them are like, they're just like, and between the last shot and now, you were focused on this other thing, and now he has hair. And like, I wanted to see it. I did.
Right.
And I recognize that a lot of that's just technical limitations. I don't think that like the scene's a bad scene in any way, but like, as I think, because I have been trained on much more modern movies where we have more capability, then it stood out to me that those limitations were jarring after seeing something that looked so impressive. Like if it had all been impressive or it had all been kind of bland, it wouldn't have stood out to me so much, because it had been all bland. I would have been like, oh, well, they probably didn't have a lot of capability. If it all been impressive, I've been like, wow, they managed to really do something crazy for the time period. But the fact that it was kind of a mix of both threw me a little bit, because I really liked seeing some of those, like, wow, that's super cool that they were able to pull that off. And then it would be like, and they pasted some hair on him. Okay, cool.
Which is really funny, because I think what you're describing is literally where this movie hits, which is the changeover in special effects, right? Where before this, it was cut away, cut back, there's hair.
Yeah.
or dissolve it in, right? Like that was it. That was the trick up until this point. This is the movie, the first one where you see stuff stretching, and they're like, we can only do so much with that. There's only so many of those shots we can get. We're still going to have to use some of these older techniques like cutting away, cutting back, and things have happened.
Which is still an accomplishment and should still be celebrated. But then also having somebody like coming from seeing the whole process and not just pieces, then those missing pieces then stood out. And I think that also in juxtaposition with some of the later stuff of like we were talking about the wolf being kind of stubby, like a lot of they spend a lot of shots in this movie being like, and here's the wolf face, nash, nash, nash.
Yeah.
Like, and like that's just a limitation of the time period.
Absolutely, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, there's parts of it that I was like, it feels a little silly. It doesn't feel horrific because it's, oh, and here's the same face again, nash, nash, nash.
But you know what's funny? There is actually one shot in this movie that I will call out as being probably my favorite shot in the movie, and it's very little, and they've built up to it with nothing, but like the old horror tropes. It's the scene in the subway where the guy gets off of the subway. He's in the tube, right? And he's all alone, and he's just like getting a little candy bar or whatever, and then he hears like a grunt.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? And he hears another one. And
I
he starts to
report
realize,
you.
okay, yeah, all right, I'm not having this.
I assure you that this is not entertaining.
I'm very British and very upset, can't you tell? Oh no, I think I shall have to run. I'm British, I can't run. I'm very awkward. And so he takes off down the tunnels, right? And it's a great scene of like the first moment where the camera comes around the side of the wall, and he sees the camera and reacts to it like it's the wolf, and he's just horrified. And you never see the wolf, and he's running, and you never see the wolf. And finally, he just like bails out on the escalator and is, laid out of breath on the escalator, and he turns around, and we had this long, deep shot down the entire escalator tube to the very bottom, and all you see is this gigantic, monstrous form very slowly walk into the top of the frame. Fuck, that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. That was an amazing shot. I just went, and they didn't show it the entire scene except for a little shot very far away, and it was so effective.
Yeah.
It was so effective. So it's like, and
Well, we
it
don't
was one
see
of,
the
like,
wolf prior to that, right? That's the first time that we see him as the
first
wolf.
time.
Yeah.
You see like you kind of see the whole thing really moving. And obviously, like, again, they're just pushing it along in a wheelbarrow or whatever to get it into the frame because they couldn't show the whole thing, right? But it was really effective. And Ryan, to your point, they did a lot of as many tricks as they could
Yeah.
to try to convince us there was a giant werewolf. That Piccadilly Circus scene is insane.
Yeah. Well, honestly, shout out to just the car like choreography in that scene. Wolf completely aside, just the amount of traffic stops and crashes and stunts that they pull in that scene is wildly impressive. That scene just as an art piece. Yeah. Like the choreography of all the cars is nuts.
It's funny because it's kind of like a mini version of the end of Blues Brothers, but in Piccadilly Circus with a werewolf. And it's chaos. The amount of like people flying and bodies and car crashes and like the double-decker bus screeching around a corner, like people flying through their front windshields and cops getting mashed between cars and absolute insanity.
So one person that person flying out the windshield is a wild shot.
Dude, and
you just see him just go sailing.
They're so fast. It's all like jump cut so much. Even the end of the scene is like mid scream on somebody, boom, and we're back to Jenny. Like somewhere calm and peaceful, and like we found him. Like, whoa, what did
We've got a report
watch?
of a wild rabid dog in the square.
If there's one thing you're going to get from a John Landis movie, is that he's going to have like these big wide shots of crowds when there's chaos, and it's going to feel like fucking chaos. He's really good at chaos. But that being said, like the ending of the movie, Dan, did the ending work for you? Like where she just confronts him in an alley, they shoot him dead, she cries, credits, Blue Moon.
I mean, I guess it did its job. I don't know. It didn't end on like a highest note, but I think that lends itself to kind of how I felt overall with the main character just in the end, like and something.
Oh, did you not like David by the end?
Not at all. Yeah, not at all.
Wait, hold on. Go into this. Wait, why do you not? What did he do that you didn't like?
I didn't realize like how ingenuine and how like disassociated he was from like his friend. Like his friend dies and he doesn't really give a shit, and he just starts like, oh, I need to bang this nurse now. So he has no remorse. Anytime his friend shows up, which, like you could either go one direction and be like, this is his grief that he's trying to process and handle, or it is like a very cool supernatural thing where it's like if you're killed by a lycanthrope, is that how you pronounce it? Like, and
yeah,
it's an unnatural way, then you have to like roam as like an as like this like
an undead
limbo
remnant.
Underworld. Like I love that. I really like that setup, yes. and that was a really cool setup, because then when his friend would appear and just kept like deteriorating,
it's such a it's so
cool,
yeah.
Which you totally see in Thriller too,
right? And so like I loved that, but I hated like his character. He just doesn't care. Like he didn't care about his friend. He's annoyed by his friend when he shows up. Like, oh great, now I got to deal with this guy again. Like he just got he turned and he ran away when he was getting attacked. And this is why this movie was like, there's 2 movies I saw that this movie influenced, but I did not realize how much The Ritual felt very much like influenced by this movie in 2 ways. One, in the way that in The Ritual, his friend does not stand up for him and just watches him get killed.
Right.
Happens the same way here. His friend immediately starts getting attacked. Instead of trying to at least help him or something, books it. Just like, I'm out. And then like he's hearing them, and finally he like either it's like guilt or something catches up, and he finally turns around when it's much too late. It's that, and it's also like just the whole like the way that he would see flashbacks of that scene, and like I love how he would see like stuff he would see like his hospital bed in the middle of the woods, felt very much like the flashbacks of this. So I was like, wow, The Ritual really took a lot of inspiration from this movie to kind of help tell it, especially the backpacking, the woods, like all that stuff. It feels very influential of it, and so I was pretty surprised by that. But that's just like another thing is like. He does so many different things. He just feels very disingenuous that it's like, who was this guy that you're going to backpack with for 3 months to you then? Like he gets murdered and you don't really like the doctor gives a shit more about finding out what happened. The
doctor gave a shit more than anyone in this movie.
He like becomes a detective and he's like going all over the place.
Yeah.
And this other guy's like, well,
putting himself at risk.
I'm gonna go hang out with Hottie Nurse at her place in the apartment and just like figure things out.
Dude, I mean,
and it's just like, and so
I can't blame him for that.
I did not like him, and so when he dies, I was like, sure, fine. And so that was like good. Like honestly, I mean, like It at least his buddy can now be saved and hopefully like go and rest in peace.
Yeah.
And like that's what it took. But he never really fully redeems himself. And he kept saying, he was like, take your life. And he's like, nah.
So Dan, hold on, Ryan, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna double down with Dan on this one. Of like, here's the thing. David annoyed me throughout the movie. Of like, not only does he, to Dan's point, run away, but then he believes himself to be a monster. He believes that the police are wrong. He knows it's a wolf. He has this vision of Jack. He fully believes he's a werewolf. He is convinced, and he is telling everyone else, I'm a werewolf, I'm going to be a monster, whatever. And then the minute that the woman shows him any attention, he's like, it'll be fine. And he goes to her apartment, puts her at risk, puts her at danger, still fully believes, fully convinced, tells her multiple times, I'm a werewolf, I'm going to turn into a monster in 2 days. Doesn't give a shit. Moves into her apartment, whatever. Like, calls his family, talks to the little sibling once and is like, hey, can you tell the parents I love them? And also like, don't fight and I love you too. And then like chickens out after the fact that he's supposed to off himself and like, and I'm never going to encourage anyone to kill themselves. But like in this instance of this fictional movie, he like
especially with a pocket knife in a phone booth.
public phone booth.
True.
That's a rough way to
But
do
he
it.
chickens out, and then he sees again,
and he's cutting the wrong way too.
the
It's
more
also part of the
desiccated version of his friend at the movie theater, at an orgy movie theater. He follows him in there. He finds out that not only is his friend super desiccated, but now there's all these other people who give him multiple different routes of like, hey, by the way, we're all suffering and you really need to knock this off because we're
that
all...
scene is so funny.
It's
That
ridiculous.
scene is
It's
so
really
funny
funny.
to me.
It's
Everyone's
a ridiculous
you
scene.
could jump in front of a car, hold in front of the tube, have a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
the thing is, to their
so
point,
funny.
they give him all these suggestions, and then I was like, okay, now we're at the point that he's finally going to be guilty, and he's going to take action, and that we're going to get some resolution here. And then we cut away, and we cut back, and he's still at the sex theater.
it's a really good movie.
It's been like 6 or 8 hours. Like we're in the middle of the afternoon, and then it's nighttime. And at no point did he take any action to increase or to help anyone else at all. He hasn't moved an inch, and then he eats everyone in the theater. And at that point, I was like, this guy sucks. And then to Dan's point, he gets shot in the street. You know? He sucks.
So, boys, what you're saying right now is that David is somewhat individualistic and selfish, and at the end of the day would rather go out in a hail of gunfire than actually do anything for anybody else. Sounds like an American to me.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the point.
I
Right?
mean, it
That's
is
the
called
point.
American Werewolf in London. To me, it seems like not only this movie is a bit of a spoof of Britishness, but it's a bit of spoof of Americanism as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are aspects to David's character.
And
he's
he's
a charismatic.
19.
He's 19. He's
Or
a dumb
20
kid.
or whatever.
Mhm.
Hot nurse pays attention to him, and he's all of a sudden got all these wolf hormones running through his veins. Yeah, he's gonna go get laid, and it's also Jenny Agutter in 1981, which I mean, I like I said, I don't blame him. So
I want to throw out there, I was like, this woman has to be significantly older than him in this movie. Like, she looks so much old. He looks like a baby, and she looks like an adult. And then I looked it up. He is a year older than her in this
in
movie.
real life,
Oh.
Yes.
Which is bonkers.
everyone aged more in those days. But I will also say this, like, there's a really good explanation for why she was like, I don't know why I'm attracted to this guy. He's just got that animal magnetism.
You've been sitting
But
on
that's-
that the whole episode.
Kind of, but it's also something that is a trope in werewolf cinema.
Yes, true.
Is that the guy who be like, well, whether it's Oliver Reed, which they reference in this movie, or whoever, like you're gonna be like, Wolf is a great example.
Bela
where Jack
Lugosi, too,
Nicholson-
they reference.
Well, Bela Lugosi was in the original one with Lon Chaney Jr., where he played the dad.
Mhm.
But the bottom line is that overall, like, where a wolf with Jack Nicholson really gets into this, where like you become a werewolf and you kind of have this like thing, and you're just like, you
This
kind of
musk.
you're
This
musking,
machismo.
you're musking out, yeah, and like chicks are kind of like, I don't know why I'm attracted to you. You're kind of a dick, but also like, there's just something about you where I want to mate. And so it's understandable. I don't know. I find that he's annoying. Like, you're like, yeah, you're a selfish kind of a prick. But I also really found myself kind of feeling for him. He's a confused kid. He's scared. He's not given a whole lot of time to really process what's going on in any of these situations that you guys are criticizing
That's true.
him for.
That's true.
You know? And there's a lot of really gnarly shit going on really fast with him. Like, and think about how quickly he tries to react when they're in the cab. He's going to the doctor, right? And they're making out in the back seat, and the cab driver, by the way, who I realized millionth time I've seen this movie, and I just realized this time the cab driver is Bricktop from Snatch. What the fuck? Anyway.
Oh, wow.
Deep cut. But he goes, yeah, it reminds me of Jack the Ripper. And he tells him, he's like, all these murders have happened. And he immediately David jumps out of the cab and goes, that's it. Nope. Fuck this. It's real. It is real. I'm 100% convinced now. I didn't believe it before. Now I know. Arrest me. Do something. I'm going to kill myself. I don't know what to do. Right. And he doesn't do the right thing, which would have been to go to the doctor and get locked up.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
you know.
But also to Dan's point, and I'll stick on this one, is I will give him credit. He acts quickly in that. But out of all of the situations that he has time to process, there is multiple opportunities for him to process or lament the loss of his friend, and at no point does he particularly do so.
It's almost like the guy, it's like, I got the feeling like I started painting a backstory that like maybe this guy was his just rich friend that paid for the trip, so he's just kind of using him to get along to go through Europe for 3 months. I don't know. You just was like, why don't you give a shit about your friend that was just murdered in front of you? You don't.
His larynx is hanging out in front of you.
Bro, how great is that makeup?
It's really good.
How great is that Rick Baker? That the gore makeup in this movie is apparently they had to cut it down. Originally, they were going to have him eat the toast, and the toast was going to fall out of his throat.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to cut that because it was too gnarly. There was a few things they cut because it was too gnarly, and I'm so sad because it would have been awesome. Although this movie did gross me way out when I saw it way too young, and the gore was like the friend in the theater when he became a puppet was just like, oh my God, watching him decrepify. But anyway, I want to actually propose something here, boys. We've mentioned him a couple of times. Dr. Hirsch in this movie, played by John Woodvine, who in this movie I think is probably the most badass, competent character that I can think of in a horror movie. He doesn't make a single wrong move the entire movie. The entire movie, he's the only person with common sense in every scene. He's trying to do the right thing the entire time. He's trying to do his best. He's the one that goes out to the little town and confronts everybody. He's the one that's like figures it out. He's the one that like in every scene, he's the man in this. And I want to, because I believe in, let's do a little more positivity than negativity, or at least balance it out. We've got the fuck that guy award.
Oh.
I vote that we inaugurate the Dr. Hirsch Award for competency and common sense in horror.
We
can call it the Being of Sound Sense Award, the Boss Award, because he's a boss in this movie. All right? Someone in a movie who you're just like, thank you. Why aren't you running this thing?
Yes.
Last week we had Lawrence Fishburne in Event Horizon, right? Where he, as soon as he realizes the ship is haunted, he goes, "We're out. Fuck this ship." Boss Award right there.
Award.
Thank you. Somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing in a horror movie. That's who Dr. Hirsch is in this movie. All right? Can we from now on, we have a little positivity to go along with our Fuck That Guy award?
I agree.
I'm trying to think of some like former examples, because I know that there's been some that we were like, this is the only person who calls out what's going on. But like we've seen so many movies that I'm blanking on some.
That's a good award, because it is tough to find a character in a horror movie that makes all the right moves, but still gets stuck, you know?
And they might still get stuck.
Out.
Yeah.
But they might still get stuck, right? But like Kirsty in Hellraiser is a really great example. That chick, I mean, she's a final girl. Final girl's going to get the boss award a lot. I have a feeling. But she's one who's like, in every situation, she's on.
But even final girls make decisions that don't make sense. They just get out of it, you know? Like Nev Campbell, she always does something stupid.
She runs up some stairs.
Well, that's the thing.
She runs up some stairs.
I think the difference is final girls, just because they live doesn't necessarily mean they made all the right decisions. Like I would throw in like the train conductor from
yes. Terror Train.
From Terror Train.
Absolutely. He's absolutely another Boss Award winner right there. Absolutely, Ryan. Totally good call. So yes, starting with American Werewolf in London, Dr. Hirsch Boss Award for being of sound sense in a goddamn horror movie.
It's a good one.
Is just such a relief when you finally see it. Because so many times the movie's filled with people that we hate. So we have the Fuck That Guy Award for that. And I'm worried you boys are going to pick poor David in American Werewolf. Oh, Dan, are you going to give it to David?
Yeah, from the get-go, from like the moment that he turned and ran, I was like, oh, he's got my award. Boom. And he never redeemed himself. Ever. He just got shot.
I got to give Dan credit here. I think that's, because here's the thing. You could argue like the police. You could argue some of the people at the bar who send them out into the night or whatever. But like, all of those are kind of one-offs. I agree with Dan. David has repeated offenses, and there's no one else in the movie that does.
You guys are mean. You guys are mean. I have to disagree with you. I have a very good candidate for the Fuck That Guy award. Remember when David's lying in the hospital? There's this bald, weird dude from the American Embassy that comes in.
That's true.
Oh, that guy. Who's that weird guy?
I had this guy.
Who's that
the
weird
embassy
guy?
guy. He's like, oh, these kids these days.
Did
they
his
never
voice sound
grateful
familiar?
for anybody that you're like anything you do for them.
When he started yelling at David, did his voice sound a little familiar? Like did it tweak you at all?
I don't know why. Who is he?
That's Frank Oz. That's the voice of Yoda. The voice of Miss Piggy.
No way.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. That's why he starts sounding like this when yelling at David.
Oh,
Hey,
now I
I'm
gotta
just
rewatch
trying
that
to help.
scene. That's
Calm
crazy.
down. Calm down. I'm gonna get your parents on the phone.
That's Frank Oz, director, actor, puppeteer,
Wow.
legend. Frank Oz. He's in this movie twice, actually. Once as Miss Piggy and once as himself.
Oh, that's funny.
hilarious. Actually,
That is actually Jim Henson playing Kermit.
Really?
And they
That's
filmed that
cool.
scene specifically for this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
In that amazing dream sequence that makes no sense in this movie with the Nazi werewolves
I love
breaking
the
into his
Nazi
house and
werewolves.
killing his
Yep.
parents. I love the
They're
Nazi werewolf
crazy.
scene. It's so fucking
It's
Yeah.
it's
weird.
so loony. It comes out of nowhere. Why are we suddenly in his parents' house and just calm night and then all of a sudden Nazi werewolves? Why are they Nazis? Why are they werewolves? We don't care. They've got guns. Down go the kids. Down go the parents. And he's just sitting there with a knife to his throat going,
Crazy.
and then he wakes up and she's like, oh, did you have a bad dream? That's so horrible. Goes to the door. Nazi werewolf! Stab, 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 stab.
So
stab.
good. Dream within a dream.
Amazing.
That actually
Dream within a dream.
That worked all right. Where I wasn't pissed off that they did it.
That's a
Usually
good
I'm
horror.
pissed
Dream
off
within a
when-
double
dream.
Yeah.
nightmare.
Yeah. Usually it's annoying. Usually it's
It's
goofy.
like,
This one,
come on. Yeah, but that was like that was good. That was a good scare.
yeah.
Because
Yeah, the
even
dream sequences are great.
he did at least react well to the waking up to the second dream where he's like, it was almost like, fuck, that was a
Fuck
dream
me.
in a dream. It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
shit.
Oh God,
Yeah.
damn it,
yeah.
God,
Yeah.
fantastic. All right, this is why you died. It's the name of the show. We got to figure out why someone died in American Werewolf in London. There's a few options. There's a few options here. Dan March of Madness, would you tell us why someone died in American Werewolf in
When
London?
I thought of this one, I was like, I don't think the guys are gonna get this one. I think I'm pretty safe here. But if you're gonna consume your porn, why don't you just do it in the safety of your own home? You don't need to go to the theater.
They didn't have VCRs in '81.
I'm just
Amazing.
saying, go grab a magazine or something. I'm just saying,
Oh, Dan.
they died because they were in the theater. They could have been at
Wow.
home,
So funny.
but
Wow.
yeah.
Dan with an anti-Paul Rubens joke on this one. All right, fine.
Taking it out on the lonelies.
Taking the low-hanging fruit. All right, Ryan Ross live. Tell
Well, the
me
free
how
swinging
why
fruit, depending on how you.
free,
who you
well, definitely some swinging going on. Ryan Ross live. Tell me why someone died in American Werewolf in London.
respect the moon, stay on the
Mhm.
road,
Mm-hmm.
avoid the moors.
Avoid the moors.
You went
None
off
of
the
it.
road, you went into the moors during a full moon, and you got lost.
Ryan,
and then you died.
When we were sitting in Bob's Big Boy coming up with the idea for this
Mhm.
show,
Mhm.
for this podcast, this was the very thing I thought of when I thought of This Is Why You Died, is they give the fucking rules. First
Mhm.
off, stay on the roads, stay out to the moors, watch out for the moon, beware the moon,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those were the rules. And what they
All
do,
of them.
Broke them
all
all.
of them,
All of them.
broke them all immediately.
The minute they stepped off the road, I'm like, they're fucked.
Yeah.
And the best part is they repeat them back.
Yep.
On the moor, they're like, wait, what did they say? Void the moor, stay on the road, watch out for the moon. They look around, they go, oops. They
Yeah.
literally go, oops. They literally go, they're like, we broke all the horror rules for this one.
Oh man,
Fuck.
So
and
dumb.
that is why they died. That is why,
that's
they,
why
died.
they died.
I mean, it sucks you stole that from me, Ryan, because that is literally like the greatest This Is Why You Died.
It's right
Mhm.
there.
It's right. It's such an iconic line. Stay off the moors, stay on the road, beware the moon. Come on, the best fucking one. Which I don't know. I don't know how to top that one. I don't know. Don't be in a John Landis movie and drive would be
Yeah.
mine. That's an easy
That's
one.
fair.
Don't be
That's fair.
in a motorized vehicle in a John Landis movie. You're putting your life at risk. I don't know. That's all I got for that one. You can't top the Stay Off the Moors one, man. Jeez. All right, get a really quick little bit of trivia here before we head out. There's one of my favorite comic actors of all time has a cameo in this. At the very beginning, one of the chess players, Rick Mayall, is he's the young chess player who's kind of like hunched over, like little kind of shy dude. That's Rick Mayall, also known as Sir Richard Dangerous from the Dangerous Brothers, from Bottom, Young Ones, all-time amazing. Rest in peace, Rick Mayall. He was, I don't know why he just had like a bit part in this, but there he was. And every time I see him, I go, oh, there he is. There's Rick. All right, boys, it's time to give Scully Awards to American Werewolf in London. Dan, March of Madness, how many skulls do you give on your second viewing of American Werewolf?
I was going to go with 7.5. That was where I was at before the episode, but I'm raising it up because I see now more of the satire. I think that I need to read into more, and I love the way that you characterize a character that I hate so much by the end as like the American that kind of fucks it up. I think it's a very good I think it's a very good, like you said, a lampooning piece of like that's making a statement on not only British culture but definitely Americans and how Americans act when they travel abroad and what they bring when they travel abroad, and
he's the rudest tourist ever.
Exactly, yeah. And so and so I will raise it up and I'll go with a solid 8 for this movie. I think it's just I really appreciated more of him taking the classic, like you said, the classic universal horror elements and just sprinkling it out through now a modern take on how would this really work if you threw a couple of American kids into this like scenario of like falling into a culture that's been around for centuries, probably, of like, this is what happens in our little village, and you just kind of stumbled into it and you're not listening to us, and now you fucked yourselves. I think that's a very great American thing that we do. So,
and the villagers are so great in this too. Yeah. They're so classic, like horror movie villagers. They all like they don't want to look at him when they walk in. They're like, oh, we don't like you.
Yeah.
Ryan Ross live for you. Your first time seeing American Werewolf in London. How many skulls do you give?
So I would agree with Dan, but I think the thing is, the ending of this movie is rough. I think it just ends so suddenly. It ends like you roll into the side of a building. And I will give credit. The more we talked about it, the more moments that I did remember that I did think were funny. I think the moment when he's standing in the coat that he stole from the random woman in the zoo, and they all think he's a transvestite. Like, there are moments that were funny that I
his line. A lot of weather we're having, huh?
Yeah.
Come on.
Like,
amazing.
There's definitely stuff that I had glossed over because it wasn't as relevant to the plot. That, like, as we've been talking more about the movie, I was remembering, like, oh, that was funny. Oh, that was, that was a good moment or whatever. But I do think that there's a lot of flaws in terms of, like, I don't think that Alex is written well. I do think that David is a really rough character. I love the mystery of all the Scottish knowing about the werewolf and like the whole doctor investigation. I feel like it doesn't really go anywhere, and I wish it kind of had a little bit more meat to it. And like, as far as the movie goes, it's fine. Like, there are some really good moments. There are some really compelling shots. And like, it was enjoyable, but I didn't think there was anything particularly standout about it. And like, by the end I was like, okay, like, I enjoyed it. It was, but like, I don't think I would really go back to it. For me, it's a 7.5.
Where I was
I'm over here with my pocket knife, acting like David. Well, I'm sorry you didn't like it better, Ryan, but I understand. It's because I know a lot of this for me is absolutely nostalgia, having seen it a million times. Like, this is my comfort movie. This is one of my, like, warm blanket horror movies. I put this on and just every single scene. And I was actually going like scene by scene this time. And I was like, I would not take this scene out. I love this scene. I would not take this scene out. I love this scene. I love this character. I love this moment. I love this angle of this shot. I love the timing of this. Every little bit of this, I was like, I wouldn't want to change this in any way. I like the fact that it's a little morally gray. I like the fact that the characters are flawed and a little human and are making mistakes right and left. I like the fact that it's both very sad and tragic and ends on a total downer note very suddenly and abruptly, but also has a lot of moments of levity in the middle of it to kind of keep the air bright or, you know, a little bit uplifted throughout the entire thing. And some of the humor is so dark. So dark. The people telling him how to kill himself in the theater that's such a dark scene, but it's so funny at the same time. There's a lot of that. And I love that kind of humor. So for me, it's absolutely a personal thing. It's absolutely just the tone hits right. The way that it just came at that perfect time between the old Hammer horror movies falling apart and becoming unpopular and the kind of the wave of the over the top 80s horror movies. This is just right in the middle where it's got just enough of that gothic atmosphere, just still in it, and just enough of that kind of 80s intensity and in-your-facedness that it's just got that perfect balance. For me, it's a perfectly balanced movie. The only thing that like keeps it from being a perfect movie for me is, as you say, some of the performances. I don't always believe David Naughton. I don't always feel like he's sincere, and that is his performance. I don't think it's a thing of a fact of the character. I think the performance itself could have been more sincere at times. But it's really close to being a perfect movie for me. So it's a 9.5.
Whoa!
I fucking love this movie.
Wow. If it makes you feel better, it was better than I expected it to be. I went in pretty. I went in with pretty low expectations. When you're like, "Oh, you're going to show me a werewolf movie from 1981."
Yeah,
I was
buddy.
like, "Oh man!" It was better than I expected. It was pretty good.
And I bet you money when you watch it again, you'll find more scenes funny, and that goes for you too, Dan.
Yeah.
I think that like the more you watch it, the more the comedy will sneak in on you.
I laughed a lot more than I thought. Than I remembered the first time. So I imagine.
I remember seeing it the first time when I was a kid, and the tone really fucked me up. I was like, I didn't know how to feel. It ended, and I was like, I feel like shit now.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. But the more that I've seen it, the more I can feel kind of the movie's heartbeat, I guess, for lack of a better word. I can feel like what it's doing, and it works better for me. So. I don't know. Results may vary, but there you go. There you have an American Werewolf in London. We got another classic under our belt here on the show, but that means I'm without a prompt.
It's true.
I'm naked. I'm naked without my prompt. You boys have
without
prompts,
your
so
balloons.
I'm gonna reach for my bucket of the beast while you boys talk about what we have next. Let's see. Next week we've got you, Ryan. What are you sitting on there?
It's me. I've got Sliver, and I'm about to
Sliver.
reveal.
Sliver.
And I'm
sliver,
sitting on
and
night.
You're wide open with that one, man. You have many options. All right. Well, we're gonna hear from Ryan in a second. I am digging deep. I'm gonna do this properly in front of the camera. You guys can see I'm not cheating. And I'm gonna pull out this first one on top. And it is Prey. P-R-E-Y.
Ooh.
P-R-E-Y.
He's gonna go more werewolves.
I might. I might.
Oh, maybe.
I might. Yes.
Oh man.
Or I could go vampires again. What do you want to be? Prey for the immortals?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of.
All right.
Let's be honest. There's a lot of horror things that prey on insert victim here.
I'm very. Ooh, are we gonna go 70s animal horror?
Oh my! I thought you could just go literal and just.
Oh yeah, Predator.
Predator was a good one. It's a good one.
The Native American.
Version. Yeah, I like it.
I don't know if I call it action horror.
It is more action horror. You're right. Yeah, it's not really horror. Yeah,
action horror has the word horror in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but
I'm
not going to go for that. I'll tell you that right now. But that's a great one. I am looking forward to figuring out what I'm going to do for that. But in the meantime, Ryan Ross Live, what the hell did you come up with for Sliver? That's a tough one.
So I had some ideas, but the one that kind of at least I latched onto was I wanted something that had a sliver of hope.
Oh.
But here's the problem.
Whoa.
In order to know a movie that has a sliver of hope, I probably have to have seen the movie.
Yes.
And so I tried to do some research to see if I could find a movie that at least a review or a critic or somebody had mentioned having a sliver of hope. and I found a movie that might satisfy another quest of mine, which is the perfect five.
No. Oh.
I only say this because this movie is not particularly well reviewed. I know almost nothing about it.
We've had too many classics, Dan. We've had too many good movies.
It's fine. You're right. It's time.
But I will say that there's a specific review of this movie that says I didn't read the whole thing. It just the only blurb that came up was this feeling prevailed all the way up to the ambiguous ending that gave off a tiny sliver of hope, even if a lot of awful events had occurred. And I feel that's the play. That's what I'm looking for. I
like the sound of that.
I'm so curious.
We're going to watch Island Zero.
I have no idea what that is.
Island Zero is a 2018 movie. Here, let me see if I can. Let me pull up a synopsis so that
Ryan,
I can describe it without spoilers. Island Zero is about inhabitants of a fishing island find themselves cut off from the outside world after the ferry suddenly stops coming. When dead bodies turn up along the water's edge, the survivors must find out who or what is killing them.
Okay.
All right.
That's not a terrible setup.
And
I'm not mad
at the movie. I'm going to warn you guys off the bat. It's got a 4.7 on IMDb, a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 2.6 on Letterboxd, which is pretty close to a perfect 5.
All right.
So we're going to
How did you discover this? By searching Sliver of Hope? Or
I searched Sliver of Hope horror movie.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have this already. I've got Island of Death, Island of Dr. Moreau, Island of Lost Soul, Island of Terror,
Island Zero.
Island Zero. Well, shit, son. All
From
right,
2018.
Ryan.
It's recently modern.
Oh my
Once again, Ryan bringing the thunder.
Balls. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about being the blind one, right? The one who goes in blind. Is sometimes I just stumble into stuff and I have no idea what I've uncovered. So here we are, all together, experiencing that.
To be fair, Ryan, as you know, to your credit, some of our most entertaining episodes have been with your like wild swings that we never otherwise would have gone for.
Slumber, right? Isn't
Slumber was definitely one. Didn't he also like pull out Fresh as well?
That was me. Fresh was mine.
Was that you? Was
Fresh was him.
We did watch that amazing Bigfoot movie, though.
Motherfucker.
Oh, God. Pontypool, I pulled random from Infect.
Which, nice.
Choice.
That was a good one.
Slumber was for Sleep. We did Headhunter, I guess, was kind of a blind
Headhunter,
that was
another deep pull. That was a great pull as well. So we have a history of Ryan pulling like really weird ones, and sometimes they're entertaining. And sometimes they're terrible, and sometimes they're just fun to shit on. So, come back next week.
Fall was another poll.
Fall. Another sequel on its way.
We'll come back next week because Ryan's going to be taking us for another ride to places we've never been. Dan and I have never seen.
Islands unknown.
The islands unknown, where dead bodies are floating
on the shores.
That sounds great to me. So
I think it's going to be a.
I don't have high hopes.
I think it's going to be a virus. That's my theory.
Thank you, Dan.
Just so you know, I think I'm going to be right.
Dan has weighed in. All right, everyone, we're going to weigh on out because we're going to head towards the exits of the theater right now and get on out of here. And we'll come back next week with Island Zero from our Ryan Ross Live. But in the meantime, we got to do some business before we get out of here. So stick around and check this out because Dan's going to tell you where you can find us and Ryan's going to tell you about our Patreon. Go, Dan, go!
Beacons.ai/TIWYD
Yes.
pod is where you can find all the links to listen to us on your favorite streaming platform. You can also go to YouTube and you can watch the full video. And then, of course, you can go check out our store. We can get some really cool merch. I'm not wearing it right now, but this is the beanie.
There it is. There's the beanie.
It's not on me, but this is what it looks like when it's on me. So
the Ratatouille beanie.
There you go. But yes, so go buy some merch, buy the many things, and support the show.
And you can also check out our Patreon, which has various tiers available, all of which offer exclusive perks. You can be a member of the Discord. You can you can access our extended episodes where we chop it up with each other. You can access bonus content. You can get discounts on merch, or you can be a dedicated benefactor, which is our top tier and allows you a personalized shout out every single episode. So we'd like to shout out both CG and Tin Man.
Josh and CG, thank you so much, guys. We love you for this. We appreciate you.
Thank you to our dedicated benefactors. Thank you to all our dedicated patrons. And thank you to all of our dedicated listeners who choose to spend your time with us. It means the world to us. It makes the show a better place. We have all sorts of milestones that we're trying to reach for various things. So feel free to check that out. Thank you guys for spreading the word and making this a fun community to be a part of and a fun show to do. And please let us know what you think on the socials, in the comments, in the Discord. Send us, email us, whatever. We have have we ever mentioned the email on the
It's on
show?
Beacons.
It's on the Beacons.
It's
email
there.
It's on the Beacons.
Shoot us a note.
Yeah. That's why Dan does what he does. To tell everyone where they can find all of our stuff. And you can find us here every week. We're coming back every week. We're coming to the end of this season. It's already 20 episodes in. Good Lord, we're 4 episodes before our final episode of the season. What is going on?
Night will be the first of the last round.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit. Time is flying.
You guys
kids.
have your last prompts of the
this is it.
of the season.
Night is my last prompt of the season.
Pray. It's my last one. I'll have to make it good. I'll have to make it
Pray
more than a 5.
Pray at night.
All right. Yeah. Well, everyone, thank you so much. As Ryan said, we appreciate if you're making it this late in the show, then you are dedicated indeed. And so thank you so much for checking us out and hanging out with us. Please give us your feedback. We'd love to hear what you guys think of the show, what you'd like to hear, what you'd like to see, what you want us to do. We're changing seasons up soon, so we like to do big, little tweaks and changes to the show in between seasons. So if there's anything that you want to see us do, bits, anything like that, let us know. Hit us up, etc., etc. So everyone, if you're a patron, stay tuned. We're going to have the extended edition coming up in a second. But for right now, we're going to get on out of here, boys. So for Ryan Ross Live, for Dan Marchamadness, I am Sir Ian Dangerous. We will see you next time right here on
This is why you die.